Hello guys, welcome to my live stream. All right, so we'll see if we can get some people here. So today we're gonna talk about Tesla's Q3 earnings and their financial reports. So hopefully they'll start soon. So right now in the video, all we see is nothing. Pretty much, they're just playing music. So we have a lot of time until they actually release like the conversation. But for now, I'm just gonna go over what they have for the Q3. So I just downloaded the Q3 form right now. I'm gonna go over some of the things before Elon Musk actually comes up and starts talking. So when you guys open it up, you can go to Investor Relations and follow along if you want. For Q3, I'm gonna take this one at a time. So okay, now so for Q3, for automotive revenue, so they beat automotive revenue. So last quarter they had 5.179, and this quarter they have 7.611. That's a 47% increase. That's a lot quarter over quarter, and year over year so far they're up to 42% increase. So Tesla's usually aiming for 50% increase year over year, but it's still pretty good considering it's a pandemic and all. That's pretty good. So that's 42% for that. So big question here of which of that amount, which are regulatory credits, right? Because we know last quarter Tesla got scrutinized a lot of scrutiny for the regulatory credits, because a lot of people said, oh, that's not money. But hey, how is it not money? Any company is going to, or is incentivized to make as much money as they can, right? If you guys are here for the first time, just give this video a like if you want. So anyway, so regulatory credits, we know that last quarter they had about 428. It's in the millions, right? So $428 million worth of regulatory credits. But this year, they actually, or this quarter, they actually had less regulatory credits in sales. So they actually had 397, which is negative 7% from last quarter. But year over year, they're still up 197%, guys, with sales of regulatory credits. For those of you who don't know, Tesla gets a lot of regulatory credits, right, from different municipal, state government, and federal government, and then they sell these credits to other car companies like BMW, for example. And one of the reasons why they do this is simply for the fact that they make money. That's it, and other companies need it. Otherwise, they're going to get fined. So this is a great way for other companies not to get fined by buying the regulatory credits from Tesla. All right, guys. So let's also talk about automotive gross profit. All right. So last quarter they had 1.3 billion, right? And this quarter they had 2 billion, guys. That's crazy. 2 billion in gross profit for automotive. That's insane. All right. Now let's look at automotive gross margin. Also increased 27.7% altogether. So that's a big deal, guys. When we're looking at in terms of revenue and money, they pretty much beat earnings. Right? That was the big thing that they needed to do. Like I know a lot of people are saying, oh, the stocks are getting diluted because every year they're doing an offering, but they're innovative. They're always spending their money on and reinvesting it into the business, so they're going to do well. So far, everything seems to be good. And let's look at the stock price itself as well. I'm going to pull that up over here right now to see how much activity there is in the stock itself as well. So post-market hours, of course. Once I get that up, I can let you guys know. So the closing price was $422.64. Now, sorry guys, I'm just pulling it up now. So post-market activity, we're at $437.05. So a good $14.41 up. It's about 3.41% up. I know on the technical analysis side, the Tesla chart was forming a wedge-like pattern, like a rising wedge pattern. So it's, especially considering the last 3 trading days, it's been going down significantly. This is a good push up, but you can't always tell, right? Due to market sentiment and the election coming up, it might just hover around this price until after the election, right? So, but we'll see about that. We're still waiting on the Q3 financial results.
Team. Oh, I could not be more proud to work with such a great group of people.
So listen in, guys.
Really kick out performance cars throughout the world.
Let me know if you can hear it.
At Battery Day, so we hosted, showed our plans for how we can expand the future and improve core battery technology, core cell technology at the form factor level, chemistry level, and I think more significantly at the manufacturing technology level.
Okay.
There's only a comment I made in the past is that I think that says is long-term prevent the manufacturing. This is counterintuitive, but I'm quite confident this will be what happens. Anyway, so we presented what the team's been working on for a long time with batteries. We wanted to step back and really rethink batteries from scratch. First principle thinking, just look at the fundamental physics and say what, rather than compare to other products in the market, just say from a physics standpoint, if what's the limit of physics? What's the platonic ideal of a perfect cell, and how close can we get there? That was our aspiration, and I think we've got a pretty good approach to it. It was slowly get better over time. And we went through all of the engineering solutions for every important part of battery design and production, and we'll continue to iterate on that and just recursively improve the core cell and battery technology. The result we think in a few years will be batteries that cost half as much and where the capital expenditures required are a third or less of what they are today.
A third or less,
guys. We expect Giga Berlin will see our first battery cell production line at scale. Regarding the full self-driving beta release, the Autopilot team, again, just a really all-star team. I spent a lot of time with the Autopilot team, and there's a lot of really talented people in that team who've worked incredibly hard to get the beta release out. So I just really like to thank them for their hard work, and it's just a very smart group of people. So
the beta release is out for sure.
We're starting very slow and very cautiously, because the world is a complex and messy place, and so we put it out there last night, and then we'll see how it goes, and then probably release it to more people this weekend or early next week, and then just gradually step it up until we have hopefully a wide release by the end of this year. And of course, as the system collects more data and it becomes more robust. It's sort of like, how does Google as a search engine get better? It's because everyone is programming it by asking it questions all the time and clicking on particular links. So it's got this great feedback loop, and that makes it an extremely effective search engine. It's the same thing for autonomy. Having on the order of 1 million cars that are providing feedback and specifically feedback on strange corner case situations that you just can't even come up with in simulation. This is the thing that is really valuable. It's not like the obvious stuff. The obvious stuff you can do in simulation. But weird corner cases, only reality can give you that. So but we're able to say, okay, we need to train the system on this corner case situation, and look for examples so we can then train against those examples and improve some very esoteric corner case. It's also important to emphasize that this is a generalized neural net-based approach. There is no need for high-definition maps or a cell phone connection. So the system is designed such that even if you have no connectivity whatsoever, and you're in a place that you have never been to before, and no Tesla has ever been there, the car should still be able to drive, just like a phone.
That's amazing.
That is the system that we are developing and aiming to release this year.
Because if you heard that, then basically Elon's saying that, for Uber cars, you actually need a phone. You need to connect the phone. You got to use your app, and then you can drive your car around, right? And sometimes, I remember once I was in a Uber in Florida, and it took me to the wrong area because the streets weren't made yet on the map even, right? But he's saying that you won't need a phone. You won't need to hook it up to anything. The car will be able to drive itself, even if nothing's there. That's amazing. What's
reasonable expectations?
Because it's self-teaching itself.
We're under construction in Berlin and Austin. So progress there. Yeah, it's overall going well. I should make a point that for Berlin and Austin, we do expect to start delivering cars from those factories next year, but because of the exponential nature of the spool up of a manufacturing plant, especially one with new technology, it will start off very slow at first, and then become the output will become very large. Just in general, manufacturing follows the S curve, and and I think sometimes people that haven't spent a lot of time manufacturing kind of think that once you have a factory, you can just sort of turn it on and it's at capacity. But it will typically take about 12 to 18 months to reach capacity, and that is a very fast period of time, especially for new technology. So yeah, I'd say 12 to 24 months even. So generally what I see is the manufacturing capacity is underestimated in the beginning for quite some time. Then it's sometimes overestimated because this is an S-curve. It goes exponential to linear to logarithmic. It's actually an incredibly hard thing just bringing a production plant to volume technology. It's because you can actually think of it like you've got, to first order approximation, 10,000 unique parts or processes, all of which operate on an S curve, and with a bunch of uncertainty, and you can just slide 10,000 S curves on an X axis, and that's what bringing up a large automotive plant is like. And which one's the laggard, which one's the leader? It's very difficult to tell, and it's constantly changing. So it's really one of the most difficult challenges I've ever seen. So let's see. In conclusion, thank you. All we've achieved would not be possible without the incredible hard work of tens of thousands of Tesla employees and all the people at our suppliers as well. I'd like to thank our suppliers. We continue to grow as fast as we can while focusing on cost control and improving quality. And ultimately, the best company will be that which makes great products at an affordable price, and that is our goal. I think I've never felt more optimistic about the future of Tesla than I do today. I'd also like to thank investors who have stuck with us through thick and thin. I think there's a lot more good stuff to come. All right, with that, we can move.
Thank you, Elon. I think,
okay, awesome, guys. I'm gonna end the live chat right there. Great, you heard him. So he's all about lowering operating costs and increasing profit margin, which is great, but also like especially with what they've done with battery days and how they're progressing with that right now. It's really, really good. So I'm gonna go back to the stats over here. So the total revenues last quarter was 6 billion. This quarter they got 8 billion, 8.7 billion, so 8.771 billion. That's a quarter over quarter. That's a 45% gain. That's massive, guys. And year over year, so it's so far at 39% from the previous year. Now, when we're looking at total gross profit, we have last quarter was 1.2 billion, but this quarter alone, the Tesla is already at 2 billion, 2 billion and 63 million. That's pretty good. That's a 63% gain from last quarter. And then the total GAAP profit margin, which is what everybody wants to know about, was 23.5%. And last quarter was 21%. That's 253 BP points up, which is great. And then you also have the operating expenses. So like he said, he's trying to decrease the operating expenses. However, it was a little bit more this quarter. They ended up spending 1.254 billion altogether. Last quarter was about 940 million. But it shows in their margin, in their profit margin, that they are making more money because they're spending more, but which is fine because Elon is He has the Shanghai factory, the Berlin factory now, which is under construction still, and he's about to build the one in Texas, Austin, Texas as well. So if you consider that, it's not too bad, really. And then so income from operations also dramatically increased. So check this out, guys. Remember, I said operating expenses was 1.2 billion, but the income received was $809 million. But last quarter, they only gained income from operating costs was $327 million. Considering that they spent 940 to get 327, but they spent 1.2 to get 800 million. That's pretty much what they spent, about 300 million more to make almost what 400 million more, 500 million more, which is amazing, right? So they made more than they actually spent, and it was 147 percent growth quarter from quarter, right? From last quarter, it was 147% more. And if you look at year over year, it's about 210% more year over year from last year. So that's amazing. That just flies it off the chart. Now, the Tesla stock right now is still hovering at about 2% from the closing price. So it's about $431.20. Unfortunately, there's a lot going on with the election and all the stimulus checks and all that. So market sentiment in general is just lower. So when you have market sentiment in general that's lower, that's why the stock price isn't going to go up as much as you want it to go. But that's okay, because over the long term, you can see that Tesla is going up. And considering that Tesla beat earnings, this is amazing. Especially because, from operating income, they brought so much more than they actually spent. That's amazing. Now their operating margin also significantly increased, guys. So remember, last quarter was 5.4%, and this quarter is 9.2%, almost double. That's crazy. That's insane. So the numbers, if you guys want to see it, it's up on Tesla's investor relations page. You can just download the document and you can just go through it all, right? Now their adjusted EBITDA, so earnings before taxes and everything, and adjusted profit revenues and all that stuff, also dramatically increased. It was $1.8 billion. It's a 49% gain from last quarter itself. It's insane. So Tesla's doing really, really good things. Their GAAP profits are up. They beat earnings again. I did figure that the stock would not jump too much considering market sentiment and what's going on right now overall in the market and the economy with Trump and everything. So I don't think that there's going to be too much of a big jump up for Tesla at all, but eventually it will go up. And I'm going to keep holding and I'm not going to sell it all. So, long-term investing all the way. Anyways, guys, if you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section below. I'll answer. Give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And yeah, subscribe if you guys want to know more. Thanks for streaming in.